are Coffee with Milani with Wendy Harrington.
Hi, Milani. I'm Wendy Harrington, and I'm a real estate agent with Remax Nova. I moved to Hubbards in around Christmas time, and I'm really happy to be here.
Great. We welcome you to Hubbards. I mean, you could have chosen any place to live from Halifax. Why Hubbards? I know everybody loves the beaches.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves the serenity, and everybody loves the community. But for you, why did you choose Hubbards?
Well, I'm a Nova Scotia girl, born and bred, and I've lived in a variety of parts of HRM. But I have a daughter in Hammonds Plains and another one in Ingrimport, and I have nephews and nieces in East Chester. So Hubbards is kind of in the middle. I can be to any one of those places pretty quick. And I love the beaches and all that. I love the trail. I have a dog, and I try to take him out on the Aspatagan Trail every morning.
Great. Well, we welcome you here in Hubbards.
Thank you.
So, as a realtor, tell me a little bit about your experience.
Okay. I've been in the business almost 19 years. It'll be 19 years next month. Of course, you start where you're living. That's where you try to get your business. But I have done almost all of Nova Scotia, from Tennecape on the Minas Shore to Bridgewater to Sheet Harbour and Ecum. I do a lot of condos, but I do recreational properties, and just regular homes too. I'm pretty diverse.
So what is the market like right now?
Oh.
So right now it's summer, but it's actually kind of like spring. But
late spring.
Yes.
Well, in Halifax, it's crazy. There are multiple offers everywhere. We don't have enough listings. And I think that spreads out into the outer areas too. For myself, I'm only a half an hour door to door from my house to my office. And that's a pretty common commuting time for anybody. So I think that we can say that for the right properties, I've noticed properties along Highway 3 are selling pretty fast as well. A bit of a growth in our population these days. I think they said 5,000 or more last year, and so you have to put 5,000 people somewhere. The vacancy rate for rentals in the city is about 1.6%, so almost nothing available, and they're building and building and building. So yes, a lot of the older people are selling their houses to the newcomers or to the millennials who are coming along and earning good money. And then they're moving into either condo or a rental apartment. And some of the apartments are so gorgeous that they're not cheap, but if they want to do that, that's really easy living. The Real Estate Association gives statistics, and they concentrate mostly on Halifax or HRM, which of course Hubbards is part of, but they say it's around 300,000 for an average. Now, I mean, you're looking at the little mini homes in Sackville for 50,000, and then you're looking at the $1 million homes. So the average is in the threes, the low threes. And really the houses that are selling best are in the threes, the 250 to 350 to 4. Over 4, it gets harder. It's more money, more monthly payments. That will bring business people. I mean, I've talked to people who, when I tell them I've moved here, some of them are originally from here or know the area really well, and they say, oh, your market will just go crazy once you've got the twinned highway. And as I say, I'm half an hour from my door to Lady Hammond Road. Twin it, and I even now put it on cruise control, and in a good day I sort of wake up when I get there because it's such an easy drive. And with the twinning, it'll be even easier. But what a lot of developers do is they build them to sell, but rent them until the market catches up with them. A lot of the apartment buildings, I believe, in Halifax, that's what's happened. They've built them for condo status, but they're not selling them yet when the market changes.
With the Aspatagan, Blandford area, what do you think about those
It's a lovely area. It's charming. It's just charming. And actually, I have clients that I sold condo to in Halifax, but they have a summer home in, I think it's Fox Point, trying to track them down and say hi to them. But it's very charming. And one of my brothers used to have a place in Northwest Cove, so I've spent some time going down the road and visiting and so on, and it's just lovely and charming. I sent out postcards around the neighborhood, and I got a response from one from that area, and they're already listed with someone else, but they just wanted me to come and see the view. So it's the view that sells, you know. I mean, you've got to have a nice house that probably doesn't need a lot of work and all that sort of thing, but the view can make a difference, a big difference, and being close to the beaches.
Most homes need to be updated, right?
It depends on the price point and and the person. Yes, probably a lot of them around this area are older homes, and depending on who's owned them in the past, they may all need work. But not necessarily. Some people spend a lot more time being concerned about the house and their upkeep than others. And if they've been summer residences, yeah, they probably are a little less perfect. And it's more the buyer than the seller, because the buyers, especially, well, if they're buying a summer home, they don't have a lot of time to do a lot of fixing up. And if it's a year-round home, they'd love to be able to move right in. And those home improvement shows on TV, they should be banned because it's creating a sense of entitlement that you expect a buyer to walk in. They love the color of the walls, they love the stainless steel appliances, and the granite countertops. Everything has to be perfect to move in. And unless you're buying new construction, that's not going to happen 99% of the time. And people have to get over themselves.
Oh, that's good to know.
And expect to do some work. And it may only be a coat of paint or stripping wallpaper. Well, and that's the thing though. I mean, especially the first-time home buyers, they can't expect to get everything they want in their price range. It's just, especially not in a market like we've got now, it's not going to happen.
So do you have a lot of first-time buyers?
Oh yes, there's always first-time buyers. I deal with them. I would deal with them all. I would say 50% of my business is more on the older adult, single women, older adults, retirement adults. But there are always first-time home buyers. And sometimes they start in their 20s, but I mean, I'm dealing with a couple now with 3 children, and they've been renting for years, and they've now decided that they have to buy. And finding them what they need in their price range is a challenge. If you're prepared to put in some work, rip up the old carpets and put down new flooring, or even a coat of paint, paint the kitchen cupboards, do things like that when you move in. A lot of sweat equity, they call it, will help with improving the value of your house. While you're living in it, you're enjoying it. And when you're ready to sell it, it'll be improved and you can make some money on it.
And it's probably harder, and that's why they probably can't afford it, because the ones they're looking for, it's already been flipped a couple of times, and now they've done all the work, and now it's move-in ready, but now you can't afford it.
Exactly. It's, but that's what realtors are all about, is because we need to know we know how to look and where to look, and we talk to our colleagues. Remax has, 120 or so agents, and we have our own private Facebook pages, and we need something, we put a post out, and half the time you get somebody coming back and say, oh yes, I've got one that's coming up. I'll let you know when it's going on the market. You'll be the first one in. That sort of thing. And I mean, there are agents in our office, I haven't resorted to it yet, that are walking door to door, knocking on doors. I have a buyer for this neighborhood. Do you have something to sell?
Is there many vacant lands out here?
Well, they're here and there. There aren't any developments really. So it's somebody who's owned a piece of land for years and years, perhaps inherited it or subdivided it off the family property or whatever, and they want to sell it. The difficulty is putting a price on it and knowing what it's worth. And it basically comes down to what people are prepared to pay for it. And of course, with the view or with a waterfront and that sort of thing, it's certainly easier to price. But just plain raw land.
Without the septic,
yes, a septic is $10,000 minimum. Drilling a well, another, and I mean, I've discovered through my own experiences that drilling wells aren't necessarily what you should be doing. Because mine's a dug well, and I thought, oh well, I'll put in a drilled well, and everybody said, no, too much minerals in the water, live with your dug well.
Why would you want them to buy in this area?
Oh, well, I mean, Hubbards is a sweet spot. It's got so many things that people don't know anything about. And I mean, the obvious things are the market, the beaches, the trails, but the little antique shops that are around. I know last year, because I was with my daughter in Ingramport, there are movies, outdoor movies in the summertime, and all sorts of things going on. And so if you want activity, that's great, but you're also 5 minutes away from total isolation, if that's what you want to. But as far as if a buyer finds a property that they think they're interested in, don't hesitate too long, because there's somebody right in behind them. And then you get disappointed.
Yes. And Hubbard's hot right now because of the twinning of the house.
Yes. Houses are moving faster from what I can see. There's one or two that are hanging around, and generally, assuming there are no structural issues and things like that, it has to do with price. And sometimes sellers have an inflated idea of what their property is actually worth. And that's difficult, but...
Isn't that what the realtor does?
Exactly. But some realtors, the seller has it in their mind what they want, and you don't get the listing unless you list it for their price. And then it sits on the market and it doesn't sell. And whose fault is that? It's the realtor's fault. And it doesn't matter how many statistics, because I mean, we all know how to search for what else has sold that are similar. Now, in an area like Hubbards, there are no two houses the same. So it makes it difficult, but you do it by square footage or size of the lot. You do the history of what it sold for before and all that sort of thing. We know what it's going to sell for, but the seller has in their mind, because they get emotionally involved in their house. I don't blame them one little bit, but reality bites, but if you want to sell your house, some of it has to do with motivation too. I used to say, if you drove along Highway 3 between Chester and Halifax in the summertime, every second house had a for sale sign on it. And I was pretty sure people were just testing the market. If they got the right offer, they'd sell, but no big deal if they didn't. So that's not being motivated. That's because, well, I think I'll see. If you have to sell because you're relocating, the house doesn't suit you anymore or whatever, that makes totally different. If you want to sell your house, you just give me a call. I think if you just Googled my name, Wendy Harrington, it will pop up, probably number 1. If not, you can go under Remax Nova. Same thing, I'll be there. That's the 2 easiest ways. You can find me on Facebook if you want to try. Email address is wharrington@remaxnova.ca, so that's easy too. If you're interested in selling, you give me a call and I will come out, and I do it in a 2-stage. One is getting to know you a bit to make sure we're a good fit, and to see your house. And I ask you to show me around as if you're selling the house to me, so that I can see all the best parts And we'll get to the bad parts too, but I'm more interested in what you think is the best. And then I've made all my notes, and then I go back to the office, to my computer, and I look for similar properties that have sold recently, that have the similar, does it have a view? Does it have waterfront? Does it have 4 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Are they all 3-piece? Blah, blah, blah. And then I make another appointment and come back and show you what I have found out, lot or property by property, and tell you what I think it will sell for, or what you should ask. If it's properly priced, our statistics show that you'll get 96% of asking price. But it has to be properly priced. So if the house really should be listed at $350 and you're looking for $400, you're not going to get 96% of $400, because it'll be overpriced and nobody will come to look at it. Or the first few, but it'll go stale on the market pretty fast. And then, if we come to an agreement, then I'll write up the listing documents. I'll have a professional photographer come in. I do a fair bit of social media. So that's basically, and then we do open houses if you want to do that. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but no harm in trying. If it comes to buying, I'd be happy to sit down with you, figure out what it is you're looking for, price range, number of bedrooms, all the usual things, and I'll do a search. I can put the search criteria online in our real estate network, so that every time a new listing comes up, you're notified by email. In a hot market, that's really important, because you're going to see it faster than somebody who thinks they're going to sit down at the computer and do a little search once a week, because by then that house might be on the market and sold. So we try to do it so that you get immediate notification.
Perfect.
And then we arrange to show it.
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be in Hubbards, and I'm hoping that there'll be some, I want to get involved in Hubbards activities too, do some volunteering around, not necessarily just for business, but it's finding out what's available. So if anybody wants some willing hands, give me a call.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you. I am going to enjoy it, I know.
And we're going to see a lot of you.
Yes, I hope so.